My dead mother had been withdrawing money from her bank account for 6 months after her funeral. The bank statements arrived by accident. Forwarded mail I should have stopped months ago. But there they were. Withdrawals. $500 every week. From an account that should have been frozen the day she died. There must be an error, the bank manager said when I showed him. Deceased accounts are automatically locked. Then explain these withdrawals. He typed furiously. Frowned. Typed more. Called a supervisor. Called another supervisor. The account was never flagged as deceased, he finally admitted. Someone has been using her debit card. $14,000 withdrawn since my mother's death from ATMs across town by someone who had her card and PIN. I'd cleaned out her apartment myself, found her wallet in the nightstand, debit card inside, cut it up with scissors and threw it away, which meant someone had gotten a replacement card in her name after she died. I demanded transaction records. Found the replacement card had been requested 3 days after her funeral, sent to an address I didn't recognize. The address belonged to a woman named Patricia Sinclair, my mother's hospice nurse during her final weeks. Patricia had spent those weeks earning my trust, helping me manage medication schedules, sitting with my mother when I needed breaks, becoming someone I relied on during the worst days of my life. She'd also been memorizing account numbers, social security digits, personal information my mother shared while dying. I researched Patricia's background, found she'd worked hospice for 15 years, 5 different agencies, always left after patients died. I contacted families of her previous patients, asked if they'd noticed anything strange after their loved ones passed. 4 families had experienced mysterious account activity. 3 had assumed it was fraud and simply closed the accounts. 1 had been fighting to recover funds for 2 years. Patricia was a predator who targeted the dying, harvested their information during their most vulnerable moments, then picked their estates clean after they were gone. We compiled everything. The replacement card requests, the withdrawal patterns, the employment timeline matching patient deaths to account compromises. I brought it to the police. This hospice nurse has been stealing from dying patients for at least a decade. I have evidence connecting her to 5 families. They arrested Patricia at a patient's bedside. She was holding an elderly man's hand, writing down numbers from cards in his wallet, while his family thought she was providing comfort. The detective called me after her interrogation. She confessed to 19 thefts over 12 years, says families are too grief-stricken to notice, too overwhelmed to investigate. She called it collecting what nobody would miss. My mother would have missed it. She saved that money her entire life. Patricia doesn't see it that way. She thinks the dead don't need money. Patricia received 9 years. The hospice agencies faced lawsuits for inadequate background checks. New regulations required financial monitoring for patients receiving end-of-life care. I scattered my mother's ashes at her favorite beach 6 months later. Finally at peace. Finally able to grieve without chasing a thief through bank records. The recovered funds went to the hospice where my mother actually received good care. Created a fund for families who couldn't afford end-of-life services. Named it after her. Margaret Ellis Memorial Fund. Helping people die with dignity. The opposite of everything Patricia represented. I visit that hospice sometimes. Watch nurses who actually care doing work that actually matters. Think about my mother's final weeks. The genuine comfort mixed with calculated theft. Trust is fragile. Grief makes it more so. Patricia exploited both for pocket money from dead people's accounts. Some crimes aren't about the amount stolen. They're about when they happen. How they twist something sacred into something corrupt. A healthcare ethics journal requested an interview about hospice fraud. What would you tell families with loved ones in end-of-life care? I held up my mother's final bank statement, the one showing withdrawals she never made. Protect their information the same way you protect them. Hospice workers see everything. Account numbers, social security cards, PIN codes written on sticky notes. Most are angels. A few are vultures. I set the statement down. My mother trusted Patricia with her final days. Patricia used that trust to steal her final dollars. Love your dying family members, but lock up their wallets.